Hey guys, it's MischiefWoW again, and I'm here for another guide for you guys. This is going to be on the Fire Mage. So, let's get started. We'll look at stats first. I'm still in arcane gear and stuff, so bear with me. But primarily, you're going to want Intellect. It's your main stat. Underneath that, you're going to want your hit cap. You're going to want to get your hit cap so you can hit your target. Now the next thing, most people either say haste to the soft cap or just haste in general for crit, but I believe that crit is better. If you want a full explanation, leave a comment and I'll make a video on that. After crit would be mastery, and then haste. And that's about it for stats. Now we can look at glyphs. For glyphs, there's a couple glyphs. You're going to want Fireball or Frostfire Bolt, depending on which one you like to use. I like to use Fireball. It just depends on if you spam Frostfire Bolt or Fireball. And throughout this guide, if I ever say Fireball, you can also translate that to Frostfire Bolt if you want. And then you can choose 2 out of 3 of Living Bomb, Molten Armor, and Pyroblast. I like Molten Armor and Pyroblast just because it's crit instead of flat damage. And yeah, major glyphs. Dragon's Breath if you're soloing, not like soloing instances, but just questing is decent. Blast Wave for AoE. If you're slowing mobs, is decent. Other than that, it's not really important, and minor glyphs are never important. For talents, we will look at those. You're always going to want to, in this points, I believe for all 3 specs, to get mana back on your crits. That's good. Improve Fire Blast, that's really not that great. I use this spec more for AoE, and combined with Impact, it's decent. But if you're not doing AoE, I'd suggest putting those points into Burning Soul for raid-wide damage, reducing your cast speed. Ignite is great, it's going to cause a dot when you crit from your main fire spells. Firepower, flat out fire damage, and at the end of your flame orbs, it's going to basically blow up, dealing damage. Blazing Speed is PvP only, don't even consider that for PvE. Cauterize is great for PvE and PvP. When you die, you go to 40% of your health and you start burning. But if you pop your ice block, it'll remove that debuff and all other debuffs on you, so it's almost a free self-res every minute. Actually, not every minute, because ice block has a 5-minute cooldown. But if you have healers, you might be able to save yourself. Blast Wave, good for AoE and slowing. Hot Streak, you're not going to trigger Arcane Missiles, doesn't matter, you're not going to use that. And your main fire spells have a chance to make your next Pyroblast instant and no mana, which is great. Improve Scorch is debatable. Really, you're using Scorch for the critical mass talent, and if you proc Pyroblast enough with enough crit, you don't really need Improve Scorch. This talent build is still from when I had all my fire gear, but if you don't have a ton of crit, probably you should go into Improve Scorch for mana. Molten Shields, like Blazing Speed, don't even consider that for PvE, that's PvP only. Cauterize basically combines all your dots into another dot that's equal to all your dots. So you're going to want to time that right, I'll talk about that later. Improve Hot Streak, basically when you do 2 crits in a row, you have a 100% chance to make your Hot Streak proc. Firestarter, you can catch Scorch while moving, this is great for mobility fights. Improve Flame Strike, great for AoE, I won't explain that. Dragon's Breath is not that great, it is for when you're questing and stuff, but you need it to unlock Living Bomb, so take it. Molten Fury, just extra damage against low health targets. This is decent for AoE, but I just don't like it that much, it's not incredibly useful. Critical Mass, your Living Bomb and Flame Orb deal more damage, and your Pyroblast and Scorch cause them to take more crits, or be easier critable, which is what I was talking about before. And Living Bomb is your main dot spell. Now in the other trees, You're going to need Piercing Ice for the 3% crit, that's great. Haste, not amazing, but still good. Arcane Concentration gives you mana back. Improved Blink, that's really just for fun. You could put that in Burning Soul, or I guess Invocation. There's not really any other great talents in the Frost or Arcane tree. For Molten Armor or Mage Armor, it's debatable depending on your crit chance to get mana back. You can figure out for yourself which one you want to use. You can switch mid-fight now that they cost no mana and stuff. So, yeah. We'll look at rotation, I guess, is the only thing left. So pretty much when a tank's pulling, you're going to want to have your Pyroblast charging up so that just by the time they get to the boss, your Pyroblast is going to hit. Now, if you don't want to do this because you're afraid of pulling aggro or something, you can always just open with Scorch. So I'll do that. You can open with Scorch, then you're going to want to put your Living Bomb and Flame Orb. Those are your three main things you want to watch, which is your Critical Mass debuff, Living Bomb, and Flame Orb. Flame Orb when it's on cooldown. Living Bomb, you're going to cast it after it falls off because it has an extra explosion effect when it wears off. And then Scorch or Pyroblast. And Pyroblast you can only want to charge before the fight and on Hot Streak procs. And otherwise you spam your Fireball. I find it useful for to have an add-on like class timers to check your dots. I would like one to have one that shows my Flame Orb cooldown too, but I don't have that. Now the Impact proc I only use for trash for AoEing and such. And because, like I said, this isn't Fire Gear, I'm not going to crit a ton, so I'm probably not going to proc Hot Streak very often, but that's okay. Alright, so for your Combustion talent, it's very important when you hit it, because you want to have Living Bomb, Ignite, and your Pyroblast dots all on it to get the highest effect. So the best time to do that is when your Living Bomb is up and just after you proc Hot Streak, because to proc Hot Streak there has to have been a crit to proc it. Obviously your Pyroblast buff is going to be on that if you casted it. And like I said, Living Bomb has to be up. And then at that point you would hit your Combustion for max damage. Now that is a weak point of fire, is that in a main nuke phase, if you just don't proc Pyroblast, you might not get a Combustion. A lot of fire is RNG. And there, finally I procced the Hot Streak, so I wouldn't need to cast Scorch. And that would, right then, have been the best time to hit... I procced it again. To hit Combustion if I hadn't just procced it, or used it. See, it's very RNG. Before, I was almost not proccing Hot Streak at all, and I just procced it almost 3 times, like, in a few seconds, so very RNG. Your other cooldowns, you can have your Trinkets. Again, this is just a macro to pop my Trinkets. Mirror Image, Mana Gem, and Evocation for mana. Now you see I've been spamming this the whole time, and my mana is decent. It depends on your crit because you get mana back, but if you not crit at all, then you're not going to get mana back and you might need Mage Armor. It really just depends. For AoE, you're going to want to hit Blast Wave off on cooldown, and otherwise you can spam Flame Strike. If you're lazy, you can just really Blizzard, but that's really not going to be helpful. But if it's just trash packs before a boss, if it's not important, you can just do that. But yeah, some classes like Destruction Warlocks will do a debuff that overrides Critical Mass. So if that is true, don't bother ever hitting Scorch, because it's just useless. And also I missed this about cooldowns, you also have Time Warp. So yeah, that's about it. Remember to subscribe, like, favorite, share, and check out my other channel, Nerd Films Beballer. We have one new video, probably another one coming soon too. But yeah, leave a comment suggesting a guide, video, achievement guide, boss guide, class guide, gold guide of any sort, just anything that you could look for. And my druid is very close to 85, so I'll probably have a guide for one of those specs soon. And thanks for watching.